already kind of pre-written up, just so people can jump in, and hopefully people on Stampede Blue, if they're just on the site, they'll see it and jump in. But we got a couple hundred people looking at the last one, so not too bad.
Pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Let's Command C. Command V. All right. If you guys are just tuning into the live stream now, I'm just posting it in an article here. That way we can get some more views. Hope everyone tuning in, if we have anyone tuned in yet, is having a good week. I know we missed last week. Jake bailed on me, so
Got too much ish going on sometimes, dog.
No, Jake and his wife are preparing for a baby here, so
being an adult is exhausting.
We're a little lenient with everything. Let me publish now. Okay, confirm publish. All right, and then I just want to post it here on Twitter. So again, I apologize. You guys are kind of watching my face right now without actually filmed on there. Just try to focus on Jake's face instead of mine.
I don't recommend that either. I shaped up the stash today for everyone.
This is why we are writers instead of like visual.
Oh yeah, I got a face made for articles.
A face made for articles. I'm
not a TV guy.
I love it. A face made for articles. I'm gonna use that one.
Gotta adopt that one.
Yeah. Gonna pub this on Twitter. Parris Campbell. All right. Everyone can reply. It's so weird. Like, I'm never going to use that feature at all on Twitter. Cancel people from looking at your replies and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't care. People can look at it. I don't really say anything that's too risque, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Let me share screen. Boom. All right.
I'm going to start pubbing as well.
Awesome. Let me just make sure again, look up the YouTube here on my phone. Sorry, guys, if it's taking a second. We're just trying to make sure everything's in order here.
Settle down.
Yeah. Still trying to get used to the whole live streaming through Zoom onto YouTube thing. I just learned about it like 2 weeks ago, and when I was hitting Jake up about this idea I had. I'm very good at ideas, and then when it comes to actually putting them into practice, it's a little different.
Oh, I know. That's why I always said if I was gonna run a podcast or like a video podcast, I would have to have a producer.
Oh, I need a producer, and I need the co-host to be better than me. The co-host to be the host. I'm just more of the guy who jumps in.
I hear you. I don't know if he's watching, but that's why I always liked being with Matt Danley when I was there with Stampede.
Love Matt.
He always hosted me well.
Yeah. No, I love being a guest on podcasts. I hate hosting my own podcast because then I have to do all the editing and all the editing is the worst. Oh man, I hate editing so much.
I can't relate because I have not made myself do that before.
Dude, so it's like Audacity and then just cutting out stuff. And the issue is when you're first editing podcast, you get so self-conscious of your ums and uhs and everything that you try literally when I was doing Locked On Redskins years ago, or Locked On Washington Football Team, whatever I got to call it now. Years ago, I was so self-conscious of my ums. I was editing every single one of them out. So I just if you listen to it, it sounds like I'm just going on this tangent with no breaks in whatsoever. I'm just,
yeah. I was on a podcast appearance years ago, and I listened to it back the next day, and they had me talking so fast. I was like, I must have had a lot of BS mixed up in that. That couldn't have been good.
Oh man, I just realized I didn't name the thing. I just put Zach Hicks Zoom meeting. Whatever. We're learning. Oh man. All right. Let me just tell people it's about Parris Campbell real quick. All right, guys. So yeah, if you guys are just jumping in, we have a couple people watching live now on, I guess, just Zach Hicks Zoom meeting. That's all it is now. Is is what we're going by with this. We are going to be talking about Colts rookie receiver Parris Campbell. I know I've gotten some snarky comments before on Stampede Blue every time I talk about Parris Campbell because there's not much to talk about from his rookie season, which is partially true. He didn't play a lot last year, and then when he actually was starting to get chances, he just seemed to get hurt every single time. It was frustrating not only for him, I'm sure, but also for all of us that were excited to see what he could do. But Jake, I know you and I are both pretty high on what Parris Campbell could do in this offense going forward. But I want to ask you, you and I are big draft guys. That's kind of where we got. I was really excited for a Zoom meeting. Yeah, people are now giving me shit about it. We are. We're both big draft guys. That's where we got our start, and then obviously got over to the Colts stuff. So as a draft guy, when you saw Parris Campbell in Ohio State, what was your thoughts, about his transition to the NFL and what his role could be in the NFL?
When I was watching him before the draft, I guess it's just an Ohio State thing. They kind of fit guys into certain roles, but with his athletic traits, you could just see that he was probably capable of so much more than he was asked to do there. He was just kind of your stereotypical slot guy running all the short routes, and they just tried to get him the ball in motion and this and that. But with that speed, you didn't really see him getting downfield a whole lot. He just looked like he was capable a lot, but that it was going to take some time because of that once he got to the NFL, because his new team was probably going to have to rebuild him as a receiver. And I think, looking through a lot of this, you can see that there's some simple things they asked him to do and whatnot. But when you're out there with KJ Hill and Terry McLaurin, and you have an embarrassment of riches, you can kind of just ask whoever to do whatever you want.
Yeah. And, kind of in the NFL, I feel like, obviously you have your guys like your studs, like, your Julio Jones, your DeAndre Hopkins, those kind of guys where they literally do everything for your offense. But a lot of the NFL is also just getting guys in certain roles. Like we're not going to ask, for instance, Chester Rogers or Zach Pascal to be our deep vertical threat every single play. They're going to work, Rogers more in that short intermediate type game, Zach Pascal in a lot more in that intermediate, and also kind of as a run blocker. But, so I feel like, you can say a guy's limited, especially in his role in college, but I don't think that's kind of the end all be all sometimes. Which I feel like a lot of people kind of get focused on that. A lot of people are talking about, Campbell's ADOT and stuff, his average depth of target in college, and that being an issue. But honestly, I feel like he can succeed in that role also in the NFL. And there were some times last year where even if he wasn't stretching the field for the Colts or like being an all-around receiver, working in that short and intermediate game and kind of working, those sweeps and those quick passes was working well for him. I mean, the Pittsburgh game, which we're going to get to in the video here, was a perfect example of that. But did you see a guy who could transform and be into like a full, complete type of receiver, or do you kind of see a guy who like, okay, Ohio State got him in his role, that's going to be his role probably for the rest of his career? What'd you kind of see with him on film in regards to that?
Yeah, I think you could obviously use him in that role early on. But again, I think he had the athletic traits that you could work with to turn him into a more complete receiver, like probably a Z. Just you can play him outside. You're not, use his speed, get downfield, kind of like what they've done with T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah. Hilton was a slot guy and punt return guy, I think, in college.
Yeah. Yeah, but those guys can be developed into a little bit more. He's got the quickness and suddenness to run some pretty deceptive routes. Honestly, last year in training camp, the day he had that hamstring injury was easily his best day at camp. He was killing guys out there. Even his just red zone routes that they like to play, the one-on-ones versus the cornerbacks, he did really well. And I think again he's probably a bit young in his development. We may not see that big breakout for another couple years. I mean, in terms of being a complete receiver, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, the sweeps, the sweeps, end arounds, and can't think right now. Screen passes and all that, return game. You want to get him involved in that right now because he already knows how to do it. And guys with that kind of speed can just turn a corner and take advantage. And you can see early on, like even in this Chargers game here, the first game, they tried to take advantage of that. Frank Reich fell in love with him. They had a plan immediately. Unfortunately, the injuries just kind of kept them from being able to get him in a groove. Um, but I think we'll see development from him this year. Probably going to be more in the slot, I'd imagine, with some of the bodies they've got now. Pittman is going to be your prototypical bigger guy. We know Ty can succeed outside, so I imagine their role for him maybe has changed a little bit since acquiring Pittman, but we'll see.
Yeah. One more thing I want to ask you before we jump into this, though, is again, rookie year, really frustrating, for not only him, but also for another person. What are we watching? Brandon, we are watching Parris Campbell film. I was a dumbass who forgot to title it correctly. So you're just watching Zach Hicks' Zoom meeting is what you're watching right now. But one more thing I wanted to ask you, Jake, is, rookie year was tough for us, tough for him, tough for the coaching staff, I'm sure. Is this second year? I don't want to say make or break, obviously, but do they need to see some kind of progress this year? Maybe it's just play 16 games. Maybe it's, be a more effective part of the offense in the games he plays. Like, is this year big for him just to take that first step forward? In retrospect for his whole career.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think the rookie year gets totally discounted. Like, I don't think they reset it back to the clock this time last year where they were just first getting him in the building. Because although he was hurt a lot, he was still in the meetings and everything. He should know a lot of the system by now. He was one of the first guys to throw with Phillip Rivers. So I do think they are going to expect some development. I don't think there's any, I don't really think there's any negative view of him at all. I just think, they're probably still anxious to get him on the field and keep him on there. And I'm sure they feel like that won't necessarily be a problem because he was a healthy guy at Ohio State. He just got hit with freak issue after freak issue once he got here. So, a full off season of not really having to prepare for the NFL and not having to, as a rookie, the combine and workout circuit, that's not real preparation for the NFL for a rookie. That sets a lot of them back. But his first real NFL offseason, getting his body right in their nutrition and wellness program, things like that. I think they will probably fully expect to see him take another step in the right direction there.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think he actually takes that step too. Again, frustrating first year, but I'm excited for him. We're going to jump into this film here. And I do want to say right before we jump into this, the Colts like to work their offensive rookies slowly. Jake and I were talking about this literally right before we hit record. Guys like Braden Smith, it took him 6 games to get in there, and that was only out of necessity. Parris Campbell, I think he was only 30 or 40 snaps total throughout the first 4 or 5 games. They really worked him in slow. A lot of these guys on offense, they don't like to rush them out there when they're kind of younger and rookie. That's kind of just what Frank Reich is with his offensive rookies outside of Quentin Nelson. So, for guys who love Michael Pittman Jr. going into this year, just be aware of that. But now Campbell, you'll kind of see throughout this video that as it was kind of going on, as the season was going on, he was getting more and more snaps in certain games, more targets, more involved in the offense. And, those injuries just kind of derailed what could have been a promising rookie season. But starting off the clips here, starting off this very first clip, he only had 2 touches in the Chargers game. I stupidly only grabbed one of them. I accidentally cut out the 7-yard run he had to the outside. So we only have the 1 target here. Every other target from the whole season, target and touch, is in here except for his 7-yard run in this game. So I have every other one in here, I promise. But he's right here at the top of the screen. It's just going to be a really quick screen to them. And again, they just like to get him manufactured touches. I mean, I think in this game, he only played like 6 or 7 snaps, but he had 2 touches in those 6 or 7 snaps. So, it was kind of a testament early on that when he was on the field, they wanted to get him the ball,
Yeah, they you could tell they had a very specific plan. There's a lot of getting him the ball in space and some getting him a step or two before the ball is snapped. That last one specifically, you see Costanzo fire out there to the outside to try and pick up an extra block so they can open up a big crease. It doesn't quite get it because he's going against a corner, but no, you can see they had very specific plans when he was out there. And like you said, when he was out there, he was probably the design target. Just because, Frank Reich and Nick Sirianni had months to just dream up these types of things for him.
Yeah, for sure. And then we're going to talk about his highlight of the season, which is his red zone touchdown against the Titans. Just an excellent route here. This is against Logan Ryan. Oh, not right up there. Whoops. I was circling the wrong guy. He is right here in the slot.
Jayon Brown and Logan Ryan. He splits.
Yeah. So he splits 2 really good players. Logan Ryan's the guy who a lot of people are clamoring for. I know even some Colts fans are saying they want to bring him in here to Indy. He's still a free agent right now. Had a really good season. Gave up the most yards in the NFL for all slot corners, but had a good season. He tries to undercut the route here, and Campbell's speed is just so apparent right here. I mean, he just runs away from Logan Ryan, which like I was saying, Logan Ryan had a good season last year, was a fringe Pro Bowler, but Parris Campbell, I mean, just runs away from him with very little. I mean, there's no resistance there. It's very, very easy. And that was kind of, you were talking just about Campbell in the red zone drills that they had going on. Is this kind of what he was looking like before the season in those red zone drills in camp and such?
Yeah, well, I mean, he didn't get to participate in very many training camp drills. I think it was like the 3rd or 4th day, something like that. But yeah, it was stuff like that. A sharp cut, starting up with a sharp cut to the outside and just kind of leaving someone in the dust. I think it was Jalen Collins was the biggest one that comes to memory. Poor guy. He had a rough summer last year. His arguably his bigger one, that was his most deadly route that he ran in camp. But his biggest play was that same day. He had in the back of the end zone, he had a one-handed touchdown catch where he stopped it with one hand, caught it with both, and tapped both toes. But no, he's not just fast. He's got really sudden quickness, and that can leave guys in the dust. And in the red zone, that creates space that is desperately needed. So kind of how they've really liked to get T.Y. Hilton involved in the red zone the last couple of years. Maybe we see some of that with Parris this year.
Yeah, and not to push my own article out there, but I wrote about T.Y. Hilton's 10 touchdown catches the last 2 seasons in the red zone under Frank Reich. And, it was funny. I kind of started that article by saying, we all have this preconceived notion that the bigger you are, the better red zone target you are. But in the NFL, it's more about the speed and quickness that you have to separate. In the red zone, you just want guys who can separate. Obviously, it's great having the guys you can throw the jump balls to when it comes down to nitty gritty, but it's all about speed in today's NFL. And one thing I really like about Campbell's route here is, from everyone who was taught about how to route run as a little kid, it's always like make your really sharp cuts, break your feet down, do this and such. But Campbell here, it's not the sharpest route. It's a little curved off, but it gets that separation. It's a speedy cut. It's a speed cut. And this is actually what T.Y. Hilton does on all his routes. If you watch any T.Y. Hilton route, almost all of them are rounded off. It's not because he's a poor route runner. It's just his speed is so fast going straight that he doesn't need to break down and then cut back. He can just do a quick speed cut, readjust his momentum, and that's going to do the same amount of separation though. So it's not like it's a bad route. It's just a different type of route. And if you watch Campbell here, it's a very loopy run that he runs, a loop run right here.
It's perfect because he splits the defenders, which makes it challenging for either of them to really make a play on it. And it's like he squeezes through right at the last second there. There was really nothing the defenders could do. And then he gets in our boy Ben Reif's face, the cameraman there, to celebrate. I'll shout Ben out on that one.
I definitely want to see more of that type of thing though with Campbell this next year. Going into 2020 with Rivers, it doesn't even have to be streaks or anything like that, but when they recognize that, hey, it's off man coverage against Campbell, even if it's like off man and it's like they have like a zero coverage type going or just a one safety look, acknowledge that matchup.
Good luck.
Get it to your speedy guy. Let him.
Yeah.
Even if it's an in-breaking route or a quick out-breaking route, anything like that, just get it to your speedy guy in that off-man coverage look, especially from the slot. Off-man from the slot when you have one safety or no safeties over top. I mean, that's something I'm going after all day with a guy like Campbell.
Absolutely. And I think it was the first time that Parris talked to the media this spring. I think he mentioned he was going to be playing a little more slot, and then he was asked about some of his abilities and how that plays well for him in the slot, and he just basically said, and thinking of this Logan Ryan clip is perfect. Sometimes when you're matched up with like a bigger corner in the slot or a safety or something, and you've got the speed that he's got, like you almost just can't be beat, especially if it's off man like that and they're not putting hands on you right away. You're going to leave him in the dust.
Yeah, I am. If anyone who knows me who's watching or has talked to me before, I hate off-man coverage. I think it's the worst thing ever. I absolutely hate off-man coverage. I would never I would do it every now and then just to disguise my zones, but I hate off-man because I think as someone who played some corner in high school and who has studied cornerback play for so long, it is so hard to play off-man coverage. It is insanely hard. Just you give the receiver so much reign instead of dictating it at the line. But yeah, Campbell's the type of guy where, man, if he has off-man coverage, especially again with zero safeties or only one safety, look like I'm attacking. Like on this next play here against the Falcons, it doesn't even need to be a deep play or kind of a big shot or anything like that. Out here, he's got the one-on-one. The guy's backing off because he knows Campbell's speed, and you can take advantage of that for a quick 5-6 yard gain. Campbell makes a nice catch over the middle. Obviously you'd like to see him break a tackle or two, but still it's a 5 or 6 yard gain with them backing off. And again, here they're just running prevent. You get that screen to Campbell, get that ball in space. He's able to make something happen. That was third and long, but I just like the emphasis they had on getting him the ball when he was on the field as a rookie. Like that's the stuff that really intrigues me. I tweeted out the other day that if you look at every single Colts receiver last year, like their targets per snap on the field, Campbell was second on the team behind T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton had, I think it was a target every 6 or 7 snaps. And Campbell was right behind him with I think it was a target every 7.5 or 8 snaps.
I could see that. You can just see they have very specific plans for him.
Yeah.
They have other guys, rubbing in the way to see Chester Rogers laying out right there. Because the plan is, get the ball in Parris's hands in space and then get blockers out there immediately.
Yeah, he's kind of like a running back in the open field. I mean, he actually another interesting stat from Pro Football Focus I saw is he actually had the most, I think it was forced missed tackles or avoided tackles or something, whatever stat they had for that. But he forced the most missed tackles among all Colts receivers last year. And that's with him playing, 7 games, maybe?
7, I think. Yeah,
7. And 3 of them, he barely got snaps. So 4 games, he had the most. I think he had 6 forced missed tackles last year, which was the most out of the whole receiver group.
Well, that speed is that, especially when the quarterback hits him perfectly in stride and he doesn't really have to break his speed. Like the Cincinnati preseason game was a good example for me. I think it was Chad Kelly to Parris Campbell, because Parris went from not playing at all or practicing at all basically in training camp because he had the hamstring to playing the whole first half basically in the final preseason game against Cincinnati. And him and Kelly had it cooking. Chad was hitting him in stride and just little drag routes across the field, and you could see it. Parris, his speed was just unmatched on the field, and then he was able to turn a corner. I think he had a 20-yard gain and a 30-yard gain in that game, and most of it was yards after the catch.
Yeah, and that's what the Colts want to do, at least early on with him. Obviously the dream is that he becomes someone like T.Y. Hilton, who develops from, the speedy college kid who has a lot to kind of, improve and grow and becomes a star receiver. But, even if his floor is kind of what he was as a rookie when he was healthy, halfway through the year, like what he was against the Steelers and what he was, I think, against Tampa, they were targeting him a little bit too. like that's fine. If that's his
Mhm.
floor of just getting him underneath and he's able to break some tackles and make some plays, yeah, like that's perfectly fine. He actually got a lot of targets in this Raiders game here that we're about to jump
Yeah.
to. A lot of them were not great targets because Jacoby was forcing stuff a lot of this game because I think the Raiders were up 14-0 like 5 minutes into the game.
There was a defensive touchdown early, I think, that really kind of got them stretching a bit.
No, so it wasn't a defense touchdown. The Raiders scored on their first series, and then the Colts, I think, went 3 and out. And then they hit that 60-yard reverse play for a score.
That was it.
Yeah, so it was like the Raiders ran like 9 plays and had 2 touchdowns, and the Colts were 3 and out. So they were just pressing the rest of the game. It wasn't great. It really wasn't pretty.
It wasn't my favorite game of the season.
You know what? I don't have any Saints clips in here. That was the worst game of the year. Saints or Dolphins? Or all of them. All those games down the last stretch except for the Panthers game were rough.
That Saints game was not good.
Yeah, no, from everything from quarterback to receiver to running back, line, like, oh my God, it was so bad.
That's one of those games where you just get off the bus and nothing's going right. You're just overmatched immediately.
No, hey,
they were banged up. They weren't playing well going into it. Not pretty.
And Drew Brees was going for a record. You never want to play against Drew Brees when he's going for a record.
I'm so sick of the Colts playing against Drew Brees. Like, white flag. Like, you got your damn Super Bowl. You complete 67 out of 68 passes in a game. Like, that's not even right.
Man, I was when I was younger and I was a Washington football team fan. That's what I got to call him that now. When Brees was going for, I think the yardage or the all-time touchdowns or all-time yardage record, one of them. It was like a Monday night game against Washington, and we all, like my family all knew like he was just going to shred the defense because that's what he does. And I think he had like 5 touchdown passes by halftime, and it was he's so good, man. He's fun to watch. But yeah, we're not going to be talking about him too much on this. It's just
this is not a Drew Brees Zoom meeting.
It's a Zach Hicks Zoom meeting. But going to this Raiders game here, I mean, it was a lot more of forced downfield targets to Campbell, and that's not really. I don't think, one, he was ready for it. 2, Brissett wasn't comfortable enough on the offense to kind of be forcing a lot of those downfield targets. It wasn't really on the level chemistry-wise with Campbell and other guys when he was throwing it down the field. And it kind of came from a point of just being too stressed early on. I mean, this one I think is a comeback route by Campbell down here. He's on the bottom of the screen, who's against Gary and Conley, who's actually the Texans corner now. Conley sits on that route really well. Then the ball is kind of overthrown. So there's nothing Campbell can really do here. I think this next one, yeah, it's just another deep shot that's just kind of, he had to step on the guy, but it's just kind of led to where the safety is. I do like how he's able to get that step on him here. So he's right here in the slot, and I do like how he's able to get vertical and actually does get the step on the safety.
It opens up there really nice, but then you get the safety coming, Carl Joseph coming over from his spot.
I think with this play, I think it's the correct read. I think it's just a little late because if you see as Campbell's running by like right here at like the 35, this guy has to be the one covering Campbell. And just this could be, I don't know who's the best athlete in the NFL, Jamal Adams or whoever. It could be like the best athlete in the NFL at safety. Coming from here to have to cover Campbell deep, that's insanely hard to do. So I think it's the right read. It's just, it should probably be thrown like right now. Instead, it was wait a little bit and Joseph makes
probably led out down the right side, maybe.
Yeah, and that's that's the thing with the chemistry that I was talking about. Like, I think if they had more chemistry, they would both know how to adjust that route. I think on the
front. Yeah, and you couldn't really develop the chemistry because this was what, week 2.
Week 4.
But, this was week 4. Okay. That's right. So really very, very limited training camp. And then this is only the 4th week of the season. That chemistry just wasn't there yet, obviously.
Yeah. And also just to really Brissett's not super young, but young in terms of experience. And then Campbell, obviously his 4th NFL game. So I think that just comes again with the chemistry there and comes with the experience for both of them. But yeah, I do like that Campbell was able to break away there, and I think that was a good matchup that a guy like Rivers would actually try to take advantage of going into this next season. But then going back again to Campbell, this is going to be just a drag route, I think, over the middle. Kind of gets led into traffic a little bit here, I think. Yeah, it's a little, again, it's just a little late. The chemistry just wasn't there between these two when they played. I feel like he could have been hit like right there, probably would have been better. Instead, he kind of waits a little bit.
And could have cut up inside. Yeah.
Yeah. So everything was just off by a little, especially in this game. Everything was off by a little bit in this entire game. I think this is going to be his fumble here. So he's right here.
Yeah, it is.
So if I remember
nice gain and then fumble.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I think this was like a 3rd and like 18, and he was like 1 yard away from converting it, and he fumbled short. I think Max Crosby made the play, but yeah, he's right up here. They throw the screen, and it's actually a really nice play. Again, we were talking about his ability to break tackles and look like a running back in the open field. I mean, he breaks a couple tackles there, and just fumbles it just short. And
yeah,
that's just, again, it's just a rookie making rookie mistakes. Obviously, getting out. This was his first game where he had real playing time. And when he got out there, he obviously made a couple plays, had a couple mistakes like that. So yeah, you don't want to see that, but you kind of have to chalk some up to rookie mistakes, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jacoby's the veteran, and Parris was the rookie. The chemistry is what it was, and a guy that young with that little of practice time he's going to make mistakes. But it seemed like they did have a relatively simple plan or package for him. But honestly, by season's end, he can't control the injuries.
Yeah.
All of them but one required a procedure, I'm pretty sure. My biggest takeaway for like areas of improvement for him probably would have been ball security, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, I think the plan they drew up for him went relatively well when he was on the field as far as what he could do. But ball security, that fumble, and then one against the Steelers coming up.
What sucks about that Steelers? We're going to talk more about it when it pops up. But
a lot sucked about that Steelers game.
The Steelers one, that fumble in the Steelers was an outstanding play by Campbell. Like, just an outstanding play that should have
turned the corner on it, didn't he?
Yeah, turned the corner, forced a missed tackle like 5 yards in the route and was gone. And then just tripped, and fumbled out of bounds. Like, it was just it should have been his highlight reel. Like, it should have been his highlight of his rookie season. But
at Ohio State, those plays, he would have left the last defender 5 yards away from him. But in the NFL, the guys are still there. And frickin' Minkah Fitzpatrick had to start blowing up in this game, basically, and then make a run for Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome. That was not awesome against us, but it was awesome in general. But going to this next clip, I think this is – I'm trying to just remember the clips right off, but I think this is off man right here, and Campbell comes across the field, which, again, just what I like a lot is just this is the type of role I like, and this is, again, it's just a late throw. But
yeah.
Man. Yeah.
I mean, he catches it, but there's literally nothing he can do by the time the ball gets there, because Carl Joseph right there on the logo is sniffing it out.
Yeah. And again, an issue, I don't want to spend this whole time talking bad about Brissett. Obviously we can all agree it wasn't a great season for him last year, but I think another issue with this play in particular in this game was he was just forcing things too much again, where his eyes are looking down here when it really should just be here early on. Like, this is going to be I mean, I know it's third down, so maybe it shouldn't be there that early, but I mean, I don't know. He didn't have any pressure on him. If you're going to wait on the third down here, don't force it when the safety's coming up on him. I think it's just putting your receiver in a bad spot. Good catch by Campbell over the middle, but all around just a really tough play there for your rookie receiver. This was the one I was thinking of. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, no, it's not the play I was thinking of.
Yeah, this was the one I was thinking of where he actually gets separation for first down. This was his highlight play of the game. This is Campbell down here. Really nice jab step outside, and he's able to force that separation. And again, this is the zero coverage or the one safety look where you can really take advantage of Campbell's ability. He's able to run away from the guy and get that first down on third down.
That just can't really be defended.
No, and this is where I think, we're talking about Phillip Rivers coming in. Phillip Rivers is a veteran. He knows which mismatches to take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
I think, for a guy like Rivers, I think when you see this type of matchup, it can be almost any corner down here. And if it's an off-man corner, they're not getting hands on him, and you're going to have a free release with no safety help, this is where you can use Parris Campbell. Like, who's going to cover him? I mean, the best corners in the league are not as fast as him. There's a handful of guys who are as fast as him or as quick as him to stay with him. And I think this is where we're going to see just a lot more production from Parris Campbell if he's healthy all year. This was 3rd and 6, and this is the easiest conversion in the world. Just no help over the middle, and he's wide open for that first down.
Yeah. I think Rivers will definitely be into that. I mean, because he does like to throw short, but he's also not afraid to chuck it downfield either.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's something they clearly have shown. They're not afraid to expand that part of his game. I mean, he's got 4.3 speed. You can get him downfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, definitely use that too. But 4.3 speed isn't just 4.3, going straight down the field. It's also that speed across the middle and speed on crossers and speed on slants. Use that speed in the middle of the field even, and create easy first downs like this one right here. I think
it's just gaining those couple extra steps, like right there.
Yeah.
That cornerback's fast. He stays with him relatively slow, but Parris gets the first step, and then, that's all I needed.
Yeah, I believe that's Conley. No, Conley was 21. I don't know who 20 was. I think Mullen? Was it Trayvon Mullen? Was it who they had, I think?
Could have been, yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
If we're going for the equipment thing, Conley is the high socks and the long sleeve.
So I only know Conley because it's long sleeve 1 and then 21. I always know who's wearing 21. 21's my favorite number. If we're gonna be like that, even just go by my favorite numbers out there. This next clip here is the one you referenced before. We were talking about him throwing into quadruple coverage.
Oh boy.
Again,
you got the 2 deep safeties. You got this corner playing plenty of cushion.
Yeah, and I'm gonna draw up this play real quick. I don't think I do have a drawing thing. Let me see if I can. So I don't know if I'm able to erase this afterwards. We'll see what happens. But this play right here is called X Y. It's wide waffle X cross is what it's called. I wrote a whole article about this exact play here early in the offseason. It's something that the Eagles had when Reich was with them. And it's actually a really cool play from 12 personnel. Basically, it's all these guys are blocking in here. It's like a max protect. Running back leaks out. And then you have, this guy coming across. Oh, my God, that is the worst drawing. And then this guy is coming kind of like, he's faking kind of out and then cutting up this way. So that's kind of and then running back again, coming out this way. So this is the ugly drawing of what this play essentially is. And your 2 looks on this play are, this is Campbell, your deep threat. And your ideal look is one, the safety bites on this crosser and you have Campbell one-on-one deep. But if this safety stays deep right here, that's when you want to hit that crosser across the middle. And I think this play right here, clear all drawings. There we go. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Our boy Jordan Wilkins in the backfield.
I love Jordan Wilkins.
Something special.
We'll do one on just Jordan Wilkins next. How do I get out of this? Oh gosh. Clear all drawings. Clear viewers drawings. No. Stand by, everybody. This meeting is just Zach messes up is what it is. Okay, there we go. All right, so getting back. So I just drew what this play is going to be here. So again, watch the safety on this play. That's the key to the entire play. Whatever this safety does determines if you throw it here or here. And the safety sits deep on this because, Campbell's speed, you have to respect it. And this is where you should be hitting Kane right there across the middle.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and instead it's quadruple coverage deep.
Kane was mad open on that one.
Yeah, again, I feel like, so if he waits another second, because look, he has all the time in the world. There's nobody near him.
Yeah.
He has all the time. If he waits one more second just to be sure that Joseph or the corner is going deep with Campbell, I mean, you have, a 30, 40-yard gain there to Kane?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nobody with him. And that's the design of that play. The design of that play is it to essentially be a clear out route over the top to wide open crosser. And it's basically a one route play. But it does work quite well. It's just, it was just poorly executed there. But I do like seeing the respect for Campbell's speed. I mean, you have 4 guys covering in deep.
Yeah, quadruple coverage.
Quadruple coverage. And then Campbell didn't even know where the ball was. I mean, that ball was way over his head anyway.
Yeah, and that 20, that cornerback there, he abandoned Kane right away because he saw that was going to Campbell.
Yeah.
That play had no chance really.
No, I wish it would have hit. I love when that play hits, just because I've seen it over the past 2 years with the Colts. Every time it's hit, it's been beautiful, but just poor last year. And this last one's just a blown up screen in the backfield. It was just a rough game. We're gonna get to something more positive now with the Steelers game. For the most part, this game was positive. Obviously, you had the fumble we're gonna talk about, but yeah, I really liked what they did in this game. I think this game he had 8 touches for 80 yards. It actually should have been 8 touches for 100 yards and a touchdown, but he tripped on the.
He also returned kicks in this game, I think.
Yeah, I didn't put that in. Yeah, he did.
He had almost $150 all purpose, I think.
Yeah,
it was his most productive game, definitely.
He did have 1 fumble on a kickoff return, I think, too, or a fumble or a punt.
So then 2 on the game. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it fumbled out of bounds. So he only lost 1 fumble in the year. But again, this play, this is what I envision the role being with Campbell this next year and kind of going forward. It's, this game he's playing traditional receiver, obviously, but they're doing whatever they can to get him the ball in space, and he's actually being effective with it here. This is just a quick reverse. And he's able to get outside, break that tackle in the backfield from the edge defender, and get upfield for about 7 yards.
You see Mo Alley Cox take Devin Bush completely out of it.
Dude, Mo Alley Cox is a beat. Let's see him right here. Mo Alley Cox just I love Mo. I was actually told by someone last year that the Colts, like internally, think that Mo Alley Cox can be like the best blocking tight end in football. Like he's close to it.
Oh yeah, their vision for him and what they think his potential is knows no bounds.
Yeah.
It's not often you get a guy who, and I mean it's a mix of his huge frame and that he played a blue collar position in basketball, but you don't often get a guy that athletic who's better as a blocker first.
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
And they've needed it because he may not have seen as much action as he has the last couple of years if he wasn't that good, because they would have had to sacrifice him being the athletic tight end and not giving him the snaps, but they've needed him as that blocker. So
yeah, maybe next week we do one on like all underrated players. I just do like mini cut ups of like 4 or 5 guys.
Hey, I'm good with that.
That one sounds fun.
Mo and Jordan Wilkins.
Mo, Jordan Wilkins, George Odom, like all of my underrated guys. Because I keep, every time we roll over a guy, I'm like, yeah, let's do one on him too. We'd have to do one every single night if we're gonna do my vision for this.
And we have to fit in the misconceptions of Rocky Sin at some point.
Yeah, I absolutely love Rocky Sin so much. So yeah, we do eventually need to talk about Rocky Sin. I think people are not like, it's funny. I talk about all these guys breaking out next year, right? Like this is actually one example. Parris Campbell, I talk about him breaking out next year. Ben Banigou has a chance to break out, I think. Kamoka Ture, I think, is the best chance to break out. Kari Willis and Bobby Okereke were already great as rookies. I think they can break out. When I talk Rocky Sin, I don't talk breakout because I feel like the second half of last year was his breakout.
Yeah, people just didn't realize it. And a lot of people just think for defensive backs that success means interceptions and pass breakups. And honestly, if you think about it, people in Darrelle Revis's prime, quarterbacks stopped throwing at him.
Yeah.
Sure, he's still got some interceptions and everything, but if you don't ever have to talk about a cornerback, that's really the sign they're doing their best. Like when Vontae Davis was on top of his game for the Colts.
Yeah, that's a good.
He would take away half the field. You wouldn't really see all the picks and everything, but it's because guys weren't throwing at it in his direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brock can be maybe not that level, but I think he can be pretty damn good in this league. But
I think once he, not to completely go off on another tangent, but he's a physical guy. Once he learns how to, be a little finesse and control that physicality a little bit, still be tough, but realize when that's going to work against him in instances like that. And I think Xavier Rhodes being around will be a big help because it's kind of similar styles coming in. But yeah, Rock could be a pretty consistent shutdown guy. He's not. I'm not saying he's gonna be Revis, but just the type of guy we're talking about, who's one of the better corners who quarterbacks just don't throw at.
Yeah, no, I think he can be a low end or like a low to medium end, like cornerback one this league. Even if he doesn't make that many Pro Bowls or anything like that, like I'm not talking about him as like a Pro Bowl or all pro type guy, but I think he can be just a very consistent guy on the outside. Like I think after watching his rookie year, some guys I compare him to were guys like, like a Joe Hayden type or even Xavier Rhodes type. I think when Rhodes was at his peak with Minnesota, those type of guys where they're just consistently pretty good. I mean, Rhodes had a rough year last year, but like consistently good, and they have those peak years where they're really just shut down guys. I think Rock can definitely be that for this team. But before we, obviously we'll save Rock for another day. I would love to talk Rock for hours here. But one more thing I want to talk about this play before we get to the big highlight that could have been. I just love that this speed right here is like Bud Dupree is a good athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Dupree is basically unblocked here, and Campbell is just tasked with making him miss. And he's able to get outside him and get that 7-yard gain. I mean, he backtracks on this play, backtracks out, and is still able to get upfield for about 7 yards.
I mean, how many yards backwards does he have to go on that one?
Yeah, I think it was like 4 or 5 yards. I think I watched from the other angle too. He went like 4 or 5 yards more back. So he got the ball 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So it could have been like a 6 or 7 yard loss, but he was able to
creating your own yardage.
Yeah. And speaking of creating your own yardage, let's get to the highlight that could have been. I actually have broken down this play through an audio breakdown on Twitter not too long ago, but this play is not technically designed for him. I think it's a mesh concept where Doyle comes out here. He's kind of sitting in the middle. I believe somebody else cuts across here as well. But they just kind of leave Campbell just completely uncovered. But the big thing here is just making this guy miss.
That broken tackle, yeah.
That broken tackle. And this
and
is
the Naheem is right there waiting for someone to pick up.
Yep, exactly. But this is exactly what the Colts envisioned with Campbell. Just get the ball out of your hands quickly to him and just let him go to work. I mean, right here, it just makes the guy miss. And then that should have been a score right there. It's just, yeah. I mean, it's a walk-in touchdown if he doesn't. Yeah. It's frustrating to watch. But personally, in my opinion, as someone, who watches so much film, sometimes you just got to take the good aspects of a play and kind of be like, okay, next time that won't happen. And I actually watched a Nick Sirianni video that he did with, I think it was Caroline Cam before she left. Or is she Fraser now, I think? Caroline Fraser, I believe is her name now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before she left, she did a video of Nick Sirianni right when he first came in. He was talking about the emphasis that him and Reich and what the Colts want to do with these drag concepts and getting the ball out quick. And he puts a huge emphasis on just getting the ball to your playmakers and making them make that one guy miss and make a big play. And that's what this play is. I mean, he makes the one guy miss. He makes a huge play. It's just doesn't finish it.
That's the type of players they pick up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's they want Parris Campbell to beat defenders. They don't want to have to just scheme up ways to get him involved. They know he can actually win matchups.
Yeah. That's the big emphasis for Nyheim Hines going into this year too. It's Hines is making guys miss when he gets the ball, but it's going one step further and making guys miss and making them big plays instead of making a guy miss.
Staying upright.
Yeah. And getting like a 10-yard gain, because like Hines has been great at like catching the ball for 1 yard, making a guy miss and getting 10 yards. What they want is when he gets those like 1 or 2 yard catches and he makes a guy miss, turn it into even bigger plays, which, we saw in the punt returns last year. And I think he can do that on game days too. But that's just a big part of this Colts offense. And another reason why I think, with Rivers, a guy who understands how to get that ball out quick and let these playmakers go to space. I mean, he worked with Reich and Sirianni for years. He knows what they want. He knows what he wants with that kind of stuff. I think that's going to be just a perfect matching, a perfect pairing with Campbell and Phillip Rivers. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. And Talking about either of them, honestly, because I think I would use Parris in the backfield in the shotgun a little often too.
That'd be so much fun.
Can you imagine angle routes with either? Like, I would try to get them at least a combined 5 angle routes a game. I think I like one of them's gotta pop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, think about this, right? Because I think Pro Football Focus did it like 2 years ago or something. They said that almost like all of T.Y. Hilton's best production came from the slot. So you have Pascal and Pittman on the outside, Hilton in the slot, and then you have Campbell coming out of the backfield. That would be really fun. It would kind of tell you that you're not running the ball, most likely, tell the defenses. But if you're doing it on like 3rd and long, like screw it. You know, I think that could be a really fun.
I want to know what Paris's passing ability is like, because I mean, you could do some interesting wildcat stuff with him. Because you have to have the threat of a pass. I mean, we know from seeing him in practice that like Pascal can spin it. But
oh, dude, if I would have cut up this entire game, do you remember Pascal throwing the deep bomb to
Naheem,
and it just went over his fingertips?
oh God, that was one of the big what ifs of the season.
This whole game was a big what if. I mean, Campbell falling on the 10-yard line, and then that ball going right off Naeem's hands, like.
That's what I'm saying though. You got to have the threat of being able to do that, because I mean the whole purpose of being back there is, are you going to run? Are you going to pass? What are you going to do? That has to be a real threat. So I'd be interested to see how Parris can throw it.
Yeah. No, I mean, just get Zach Pascal working with all the receivers, get them all up to speed with throwing. Because I think Pascal's a high school quarterback, so he could probably
he's got a good arm.
He's got a cannon, dude. He can throw it. Yeah, he's got a really good arm. Getting back to Campbell here, but I think this is another reverse play, and this is a big reverse. I mean, just again the speed on the field with him. I mean,
oh dear God, look at that space.
Yeah, I mean that again, that's just the dream that the Colts had when they drafted Campbell, and I believe you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong here because you spent more time around Reich than I ever have, but I believe the big reason why they took Campbell was when Kansas City was just shredding them in the playoffs that year. In 2018, they saw all the speed that was out there with Watkins obviously, but Tyreek Hill, all those guys, and he just wanted more of that speed on
they knew they needed it. Yeah. I mean they want to be a physical tough team, but like you also have to have speed or it doesn't matter. Without speed, if all you've got is toughness, then you're just a between the tackles running team, damn near.
Hey,
you've got to have speed. And
last year, if you listen to the coaches last year, it sounds like that's all they want us to be. But no, they want the. I mean, look, run the damn ball is fun. The more running and being the best running team in the NFL is fun, but it's all about those explosive plays. And the big reason why the Colts didn't make the playoffs last year, you can point to a lot of things, but the number one reason why they didn't make it is they were near the bottom of the league in explosive plays. Number one.
I think they thought the play action was going to be a lot more of a given for them than it was. And I think TY being hurt affected that. That didn't go well. There was just a few things that really hurt that. With how good their ground game was, I thought, that was going to be such a big deal. And I think it was the Texans game at home where they killed all day with play action, and Pascal had, I think, 100 yards. I think that's what they envisioned pretty much all season.
That game was all crossers and all play actions, and the Texans just didn't know what to do.
You'd think they're going to try and hit back on that this year.
Oh yeah, no, I think again, just we're hyping so much on Rivers with this, and I don't want to make it seem like I think Rivers is like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Still, he's not. I mean, he was close to that in 2018, so he's not far removed from it. But all this offense really needs is someone who's willing to be aggressive down the field and can get the ball out quick to these playmakers. I mean, I'm not saying the Colts have the greatest playmakers in the NFL. Michael Pittman Jr., Parris Campbell, T.Y. Hilton's not an amazing group, but it's a pretty good group. It's just get the ball out quick to them and let them do their thing in space. That's all they really need. And, Rivers, even with his interception mistakes and with some of the mistakes he's made in recent years, you just got to get the ball out in space. I mean, he knows how to do that. He's been in this league for so long. So I think it's just going to be such a big impact on this team having a guy like Rivers who, Jacoby was always trying to hold onto the ball and make the perfect play. Where Rivers isn't that. Rivers is I'll take the check down. His running backs always get like 1,000 yards receiving. It seems like. He knows how to get the ball out to the right read, and that's all you really need to do in Frank Reich's offense. He's going to give you that open right read. It's just getting that ball out to them.
And as much as it's important as he comes in and already basically knows the system, he also knows everything a defense can throw at him. He's been in the league 17 years. He's seen it all. So I think that mental processor in his head, as good as it is that he already knows the Colts system, he's not going to be easily tricked by what's coming at him on the opposite side either. So I do think, exactly like you said, he'll be able to make quick decisions to get the ball in the hands of these playmakers, because the Colts like these yards after catch guys, and I think they'll be able to do that. Honestly, if you watch Trey Burton's college tape, his Florida stuff, lots of opportunities for yards after the catch. And I think it was a few weeks ago, I think it was Coach Reich said, he actually expects big things from Trey Burton this year. I think that signing is a little slept on because, Burton's kind of coming from an anemic passing game, and he was signed to a big contract, and like he wasn't really able to live up to it. So people kind of forgot about him. But, we just saw the second tight end in this offense in 2018 score 14 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's not saying that's going to happen again, but the Colts know how to utilize a mismatched tight end. And Burton at his core really can do that. So,
yeah. Again, when you look at this group of guys who can make plays after the catch, obviously T.Y. Hilton and Harris Campbell can do that. But Nyheim Hines we've seen do that. Zach Pascal, I'm not going to say is incredible after the catch, but he's not bad by any means. Like, he can make plays after the catch. He's done it before. Trey Burton's done it before in his career. Mo Alley Cox actually runs through people. Like, nobody can tackle Mo Alley Cox. So, if you just want to do drags all day with Mo Alley Cox, that's fine. He'll just run through people. When you look at these weapons, I don't think that, again, I don't think it's an elite group, but I think they're great for what Reich wants his offense to be. And I think that we're really close to kind of forming the offense that Frank Reich has always wanted with this team. Obviously you prefer to have Andrew Luck back there, but bad things happened with that. But, I think getting a veteran quarterback like Rivers, a guy who's worked with Reich, and getting a lot of weapons who fit the exact mold that Reich wants, I think it's going to be a good year for these guys. I really I just see so much of what he wants in his offense from each of these guys that I think it's just going to mesh really well.
Yeah, there's just, as a group, or they make a group, but individually a lot of these guys just bring such different characteristics that it really creates a wide receiver group that can give you anything you really want. Yeah,
for sure. And then going again, Parris Campbell, just again a crossing route across the field here, and then nobody's covering him. That's, again, he doesn't even need to be great. Parris Campbell, like, the scheme is going to get him open looks. And this is just an open look that he's able to get right here. And yeah, they just completely lost. Devin Bush had a up and down rookie season. I think that's his guy. He completely lost there, but even if Devin Bush was covering, I don't know if he's going to stay with him there.
Because the best rookie linebacker in the league resides in Indianapolis.
Oh yeah, Bobby Okereke was easily the best one.
There was a whole lot of noise about Devin Bush and Devin White coming into last year at linebacker. It wound up being Okereke was arguably the best. They obviously played more, but
yeah, no, for sure, I agree. I think Okereke was the best in my somewhat biased opinion. But we got Campbell right here on this side again on another just scheme touch, makes TJ Watt miss in the backfield, and he's able to get a field. It's only a 2 or 3 yard gain, but again, it's avoiding that disaster there and creating yards. This could have been a 4 or 5 yard loss. TJ Watt gets up really easily there, and again, I just love get the ball in space to Campbell. I think he can make plays,
And then he lowers that shoulder into Minkah Fitzpatrick. Man, that's. A lot of speed guys get the label as being finesse. You don't see a receiver trying to lower a shoulder into a safety all that often.
Yeah, and in this play, I think, this is kind of Hoyer with a bad pass. If this ball's in front of him, he probably gets a touchdown here. If you look at this play here, again, I've been talking about this whole time. Give me off-man coverage with Parris Campbell all day, and I could turn him into a 1,000-yard receiver if you just give me off-man coverage all day.
Oh, yeah.
right here, it's kind of like a mini dagger concept where they have Chester Rogers clearing out, and then they have the quick slant or quick in route right underneath here. But I mean, if Hoyer throws that ball in front, like right here, I think that could be a close to a touch. I mean, he had to make Minka miss too, but the ball's kind of thrown behind him, and the corner is able to drive down on it. But overall, that Pittsburgh game was outstanding for Campbell, and I think that's a glimpse of what we're going to get with Campbell this next year.
Yeah, I think I wrote after that game, this is what we've been waiting on all season. This is what you can expect their plan for him to be, because he would contribute as a receiver, a runner, and a kick returner. That was your Parris Campbell game. That's what the coaches envisioned.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate he went down with injury after that game, because I feel like he really could have built on that momentum for the rest of the season. And that would have been great going into, we could have been talking about him the way that we talk about Rock Ya-Sin if he played the rest of the year. If he played healthy from that Pittsburgh game on and had at least a somewhat similar impact. We'd be talking about him as kind of the same way we're talking about Rock Ya-Sin, a guy who turned it around and had a great rookie year. But
yeah,
instead we're kind of just talking about a guy who was just marred with injury. But talking about this last game here, the Bucks game didn't really have too many things to go on. This first play is actually one I want to talk about because, again, at his deep speed, he actually does get a step on the defenders. But I think after that, he breaks his foot on the next target he gets. But
yeah,
right here, he's in the slot. And even from the slot, again, you can utilize him deep. And again, I think this is just a pass that was just thrown too late because he did have a step. I mean, I think the ball should be thrown like right here. The second you see that safety is kind of flat-footed right here and you have Campbell, like that ball should be thrown like right now.
And they'd be turned around, yeah.
Yeah, like right now is when that ball should be thrown. You throw it like right out here and you probably have a good chance for a score, but he just waits a couple extra seconds. The other corners are able to come back and you just got nothing there. But again, I'm not talking bad about Brissett too much here, but I think a guy like Rivers understands that and knows when to, Rivers doesn't have the kind of arm that Brissett has, but I think Rivers understands again more how to take advantage of this leverage issue here and how to, get that ball in front.
I mean, if you get rid of the ball sooner, then the arm strength doesn't totally matter because the ball's waiting for the receiver downfield already.
Yeah.
You're throwing, the receiver under the ball basically.
Yeah. So that could have been a big play, but again, just rookie season just kind of marred with injuries and missed opportunities, and it's just what it was. It's just disappointing. That's all you can really say about it. And this next play, I think, is where
I think this is where he breaks his foot and he doesn't leave yet, but that's where he breaks a foot. Yeah.
Yeah. He got, I think, 3 more targets in this game too, which is crazy. He's right here on the drag route. I think that was his only, from my charting, I think that was the only incomplete pass that went his way, when he was targeted under 10 yards last year. So again, just getting the ball in space underneath like that, and he can make things happen. But he did get a couple more targets here. I think he's right here in the slot. Nice little move. Falls forward, gets a couple yards in the red zone, and then he just looked injured on the next plays. Like
his foot had to be killing him by that point.
Oh my God, dude! I've had like a bruised foot and I couldn't barely move. Yeah. So I don't know how.
Florida Heat, that foot was probably throbbing.
I think it was this play right here when I realized, like, even if I didn't know he broke his foot, like he had something wrong, because right here it just doesn't look like the same Parris. Like, look how kind of tentative he is. Like he's just, it doesn't look like Parris Campbell. Like,
yeah. What was weird on the play where he actually broke his foot, you see him grab it for a second and then he hops back up. It's like he was telling himself, he's like, nope, this didn't happen again. I did not just get hurt again. Let's get up and let's go.
I guarantee that's exactly what was going through his head, though.
Yeah, see, because he holds it and then pops right back up. He's like, nope. Put that in the rearview mirror.
That's a tough son of a bitch. Not me, man. I need to get a lot of shots.
God, when you have that high of hopes, the coaches probably pumped him up a bit all off season, telling him, the plans they had for him. He was hearing a bunch of good stuff from the fan base and he just kept getting hurt. This was somewhat late in the season. He had to just think like, nope, I'm not going out again. Like I got to finish the season.
No, I know exactly how it is. I mean, it's just the nature of sports. I mean, it's just, again, just everything that happened his rookie season. It's just how it went. Very unfortunate, but just again, looking through this film, I think a lot of the perception through a lot of the Colts fan base is like already calling him a bust earlier and saying like, He hasn't done anything in this league, but I think there's a lot of good things to look at with his film of his rookie year. I think there's a lot of positives, namely that Pittsburgh game. I think that Pittsburgh game really says, like, this is what they want to do with him and what they can do with him. But I'm excited for him going forward here. I mean, we talked about it all this entire session here, but with a guy like Phillip Rivers, at quarterback, just how much does that really help a guy like Campbell if he's healthy, obviously?
I think it'll be big because I think when you have a receiver like Campbell, I think accuracy is really important in getting the ball to those guys in stride when they're already faster than everybody. If they've got that step or two on someone, you got to get the ball to them in stride so they don't have to slow down. I think that'll be big. I think we'll be able to see his game expand a little downfield as well. Because again, Rivers isn't afraid to take the shots. And as we just saw in here, they obviously wanted to get him involved downfield more than he was at Ohio State. But then I think he's going to keep getting the gimmicky stuff too. Of course, you got to say with everyone being healthy, and that includes T.Y. Hilton, because I think T.Y. Hilton's health plays a big part in this as well, because that's your two main speed guys. It's going to be very hard for defenses to try and control two field stretchers like that at the same time. So I just think having a decisive and aggressive quarterback like Rivers can only help.
Yeah, for sure. And then one more thing I wanted to ask you, because it's more of your area of expertise, not really mine, but fantasy football people, a lot of fantasy football people are talking about this Colts team. People love Jonathan Taylor. People love T.Y. Hilton when he's healthy. There's some things to like fantasy football wise, but personally for me, again, I don't know fantasy football too much. I've kind of been a little removed from it for a couple of years, but I feel like Parris Campbell's the type of guy that I would target kind of later in drafts, like that, someone after like the 11th or 12th round. Where are you kind of targeting Campbell though for your fantasy drafts this year?
About that area, I think I've got him on two of my teams. I've got him. I just did a dynasty league startup the other day, and I think I was able to grab him there. That or someone sniped him right in front of me. But I've got him on a couple rosters, and it is in those double digit rounds. Usually, you're able to get him because, again, people kind of forgot a little bit, especially the fantasy community. That's more of a national audience. They forgot, the buzz surrounding him last year and early in training camp. By now, he's just the third or fourth receiver on Indy's roster, according to a lot of people. They don't understand the plan for him and what the Colts like to do with him. The carries is a big deal. I think him working from the slot, maybe that keeps his targets closer to the line of scrimmage, and we know that Rivers will check down and go to his shorter guys. I'm definitely willing to take a flyer on him, especially late. I think he could have a pretty productive season from a fantasy perspective, especially PPR. Yeah. I just think they never stopped loving what they have in him. It's just totally a matter of health. In my opinion, that's like 100% the only concern for him from a fantasy perspective, because I think he's still going to get targets. He's got an accurate, aggressive quarterback in Rivers. I think it's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I actually said the other day in an article, I think he's going to be the second leading guy in targets this year. I'm just really, really buying the, him being close to the line of scrimmage, a guy like Rivers who's going to want to get that ball out quick and get it to a guy like him who can make those plays. I really do think, if obviously health permit, not only for him, but also for guys like T.Y. Hilton and everybody else. I think if everyone's healthy this year or mostly healthy, I think he's going to be, second on the team in targets this year. I think that they're going to really, really get him involved. And I'm really excited for Parris Campbell. I think he can be really good this year. And he's a guy who, again, I wasn't even super, super high on it as a draft prospect, but I just love his fit in this offense so much. And I love what he can bring to this team with Phillip Rivers. So, very, very high on him. And I think he's going to have a really good comeback season here in year 2.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys who I don't think it's going to take very long for people nationally, especially like the fantasy community tends to know more about players nationally. For people like that to remember, oh yeah, he did have a lot of buzz last summer. That's why. Because just like you said, a lot of targets close to the line of scrimmage and things like that, yards after the catch. There's just so much they can do. I don't think the Colts were disappointed with his rookie season at all. They obviously wish he would have stayed healthy, but like all the stuff they wanted to do with him last year, there's no reason for that to change going into year two.
Yeah.
I'm sure they view him as another year smarter, because although he couldn't physically participate that whole time, again, he was in meeting rooms. He's still, he's learning from people. The Colts have Mike Groh, that probably helps a little bit. The new receivers coach. There's not much reason to fade Campbell in year two. I understand why people may have, maybe sleeping on him a little bit, but I see a pretty productive year two.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, guys, that's about all we got for today. One of these times we're going to keep it under an hour long, but we might just keep
No, we won't.
We're both ramblers. We like going on little tangents about other things.
Exactly. We know our truth.
We do. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I appreciate all the comments that you guys go in there, especially Lawrence Owen, Colts Law, and Jason Spears. You guys were throwing a lot of comments in there, which I really appreciate.
Keeping the combo alive, fellas.
Yeah. And you guys were just I love it, guys. So keep that up for sure, and be sure to hit up me and Jake about any suggestions you guys have for future film rooms and stuff here. I mean, it's the off season still. I mean, even when the season comes, we don't know how long that's going to happen or what's going to happen with all that. Everything's kind of still uncertain. So we might be doing a lot more of these. So definitely hit us up for more topics and such. And I love watching film and just talking some film and getting some knowledge out to you guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Jake, you have anything you want to say before we close it off here?
No, man, just excited that training camp is picking up a little bit. Guys are getting out there on the field in a team setting now, and we're going to get pads put on pretty soon. We're going to see some offense versus defense stuff. So really looking forward to the reports coming out of camp.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I wish I was there, but me too.
Samesies.
All right, guys. So let me end this Zach Hicks Zoom meeting. Hopefully I can rename it.
Yeah, you got to rename that, man.
We're just gonna start going Zach Hicks Zoom meeting 1, Zach Hicks Zoom meeting 2. Yeah. Like just nobody even know you're here, Jake. It's just Zach Hicks Zoom meeting. All right, guys. Tune in next week. We'll be back with another film session. Send us all your ideas and anything you want to see us break down. I mean, we could even talk some of the rookie guys if you want, or we might do that underrated one next week. We'll see. I do like that idea a little bit, but hit us up, guys, all week. We're always available on Twitter and such like that. But hope you guys enjoyed.